Primary voters hit the polls to pick their candidates for the fall. In the state of Maine, a Senate showdown is set between Democrat Graham Platner and Republican Senator Susan Collins. Platner is a first-time candidate facing serious questions about his past. Caitlin Huey-Burns is in Brewer, Maine. Caitlin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Vlad. And after prevailing in that primary last night, Graham Platner nodded to some of those controversies, telling supporters that he's made mistakes in life. But he vowed to make them proud in a race that is going to help determine control of the U.S. Senate.
We will win back this Senate seat.
Graham Platner won the Maine Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate Tuesday, despite a number of headline-grabbing controversies.
It's so funny that liberals who maintain the vote blue no matter who posture, like the centrist liberals who are unbelievably pro-Israel and Israel first, clearly, that have taken Graham Platner's statements against Israel very seriously, contrary to what the ultras think, are deciding to say, like, oh, you guys don't understand. We're just giving you a sincere warning that, like, you only know how to beat us, centrist Democrats. You don't know how to beat right-wing Republicans. Right-wing Republicans are far more vicious, far more ruthless, and have a lot more money to dump in these sorts of races. And while that is true, and the Republicans have already entertained a $50 million war chest that they're going to be dumping in the direction of Susan Collins here, it's very clear to me that liberals recognize something that I've been saying since day one. Like Graham Platner, don't like Graham Platner, it doesn't matter. Graham Platner's platform shows that you can actually win with left populism in a purple state, in a red seat. You can win over a red seat. This betrays the fundamental argument that liberals have advanced over and over again against left flank candidates. So that's why I don't spend a good deal of time talking about Graham Platner's background or his shortcomings or what went wrong here or anything like that, okay? They recognize it because, I'm sorry to say this, they're a lot smarter when it comes to elections than the average online lefty is, okay? This is their field. This is where they are dominant, and they know exactly how to undermine their opposition. And when I say their opposition, I don't mean the Republicans. Their opposition in this race is the left. For the centrists in the Democratic Party, they would much rather maintain, for some of them, they would much rather maintain a Republican majority in the Senate than to give way to the argument that you can actually win with left populism in a purple state. You can actually win with left populism in a red seat, okay? That's it. And I've been saying this since day one, since the first Graham Platner controversies came out. Since the first Graham Platner controversy came out, what did I say? I said, look, I have my suspicions, I have my skepticisms about Graham Platner, but the silver lining here is that left populism is demonstrably successful, even in places like Maine. And it's clear that that is the case, okay? Now, what I think is going to happen in the upcoming months, in the lead up to the actual general election, is you're going to see some party officials and party members in the Democratic Party buck up and recognize the severity, recognize the danger of a Republican Congress, a Republican Senate, and actually, you know, defend Graham Platner and offer support to Graham Platner and try to get Graham Platner across the finish line. There will, however, be a lot of naysayers that operated within the primaries to limited success continue to launch attacks against Graham Platner because they would rather a Bernie-crat lose to prove their priors and allow a Republican majority to take shape than to allow a Bernie-crat to win and prove their worldview to be insignificant, inconsequential, and wrong.
Controversies surrounding him.
I've made mistakes in my life, mistakes that I regret, that I live with, and that I continue to learn from.
Beset by a series of scandals, including allegations of physical abuse by a woman he dated over a decade ago, which Platner denied, calling them, quote, politically motivated.
You have had my back.
The Marine veteran and Maine oyster farmer released this video Tuesday reflecting on the race.
These past few weeks have been brutal.
Now, the hard part begins for Platner as the political newcomer aims to defeat five-term Republican Senator Susan Collins in November.
Susan Collins doesn't serve us. She serves Donald Trump.
While in South Carolina,
serving South Carolina has been the greatest honor of my life.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace lost her race for governor after the conservative firebrand failed to win the endorsement of President Trump, who instead backed the state's lieutenant governor, Pamela Yvette, who advanced to the June 23rd runoff against Attorney General Alan Wilson.
I'm going to endorse Alan Wilson for governor. I think he's going to mop the floor with Pamela Yvette.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good.
And over in California, the governor's race has now narrowed. Republican Steve Hilton advanced to the general election to take on Democrat Javier Becerra.
Now, Platner may be running as an outsider here in Maine, but last night, Washington top Democrats lined up behind him. And as for his opponent, Susan Collins, she said yesterday that these allegations against Platner are troubling and serious, and that he owes people of Maine a more detailed explanation. Eva.
Caitlin, thank you. If I'm in your campaign, or if I'm high up in the Democratic Party, at this point, I have a few questions in terms of the health of your campaign.
Anyway, yeah, he had some really good bars.
And moving forward into the...
He had some really good bars in his acceptance speech last night. Don't know if I have that in the docket here. I do want to bring that up, where you know, he railed against all of the forces. He railed against all the forces that coalesced to attack him, and said, you know, we're doing it. We're doing the damn thing. We're fighting back. All this shit. Do you have a license to bounce on it the way you do? Yes, I do. I do have my license to bounce on it. He had some good lines here. He talks about redemption.
Son of rural Maine. I was a kid who picked blueberries under the July sun, and then one day, I was a kid who signed up and left to fight for his country. And when I returned...
For the record, whenever he says I fought for freedoms or whatever, I cringe, okay? It's cringe as fuck to be like, oh, I fought for freedom. I fought for freedom. It's unbelievably inconsistent with the other statements that he's made about his service, specifically in private when he was, you know, a Redditor. And I suspect it's because he wants to win an election rather than showcase his like actual opinion that he fought for, you know, preserving American freedoms by going out to Iraq. It's unbelievably cringe. It's also ridiculous. I don't even think he has to say that. You can say that you believed that that was your intention, that you believed it was honest, you believed it was earnest, and then you felt discouraged when you actually served, when you actually put on the, you know, when you actually put on the uniform and you went out there and you were broken by some of the actions that you committed, you know, something like that.
I carried with me the weight of forever wars and the struggle and the alienation that came with it.
Okay, never mind. I spoke too soon. He literally did follow up with that. Never mind. Okay, good. Because sometimes I hear him say that. Like, I watched his Ro Khanna thing that he did, and I was just like, it was cringe. If he just lets the I fought for freedoms hang, I'm like, ugh. Because he did do that with Ro Khanna.
But I'm also a lucky one.
Spoke too soon.
Who found his way back. Who found a living on the sea, in a home, in a community that offered love and redemption.
Sometimes precog is off.
Redemption is not just some simple or easy.
I do like this message, by the way. The redemption message, fucking awesome. Banger. Very, very Hasanabi head coded. This is like a fundamental principle that I abide by as well in terms of redemption. And I really like the redemption message that he talks about. Like, we allow people room to grow, and we give them grace. Everyone's on their own journey. I really, really like that.
easy destination. It's a journey. I've made mistakes in my life, mistakes that I regret, that I live with, and that I continue to learn from. And I'm still far from perfect. But every day I wake up and I try to be a little bit better and a little bit kinder than I was the day before. And if you give me the chance, I will be a senator for the people who cannot afford to buy a senator.
Bars, 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 bars. I'm going to say something that's going to create a nuclear atom bomb in the discourse here. It's going to piss off everyone. Are you ready for it? AOC talked about something that I think is very important. Because if you recall, like, there's a couple people in our flank, in our side, that have been critical of Graham Platner. Or have refused to endorse Graham Platner, or has just been like, I haven't endorsed anybody in this race, right? AOC is one of them. AOC said something that I think is perfectly appropriate to say about her endorsement process. Okay? AOC came out and said, broadly, when she's making endorsements, that she looks at someone's track record. She even went so far as to say, just because, no, this is not the video where she says, I haven't endorsed anybody in the race. She said, just because someone says the right things doesn't mean I'm going to automatically assume that they are invested in fighting this fight. Just because someone has a good policy page doesn't mean that they are, doesn't mean that they have the actual background, right? Graham Platner talks the talk. But does Graham Platner walk the walk is a real consideration. I think it's a perfectly valid thing to call into question, as a matter of fact. The reason why I say that is because while Graham Platner is incredibly solid on the messaging side, and I like that a lot, does he have the organizing background? Because there are plenty who I have endorsed, who I've worked alongside, that do have that organizing background, right? Yeah, AOC has quietly played the sharpest endorsement game of any Dem this cycle. It was a quote retweet of this. Giving the late and perhaps decisive boost to at least 4 progressive underdogs who narrowly won their primaries. Let me see if I can find the actual the actual quote retweet of this that I read that I liked. I think it was the Axios guy. What's his name? It was the Axios guy that said it. So here's the thing. I like what the Graham Platner campaign spells for insurgency campaigns and insurgency candidacies all around the country. Okay? I like it quite a bit. But as far as people's skepticisms goes, I also understand that as well. Here's what AOC told me about her endorsements in March, says Andrew Sullender. Anybody can put up a website and put a list of policy commitments on it. We have to see, is there a record on those commitments? What is the relationship to an on-the-ground field force like? That is 100% the right attitude to have with endorsements. I say this now, especially as someone who does work with a lot of candidates, who does actually hype up a lot of candidates, who has now seen some defeats and seen some successes with the candidates that I work with. The magic zone for me is when a candidate has good messaging, a good policy platform, but also on top of that, actual work in the field to advance some of these agendas, some of these, some of these policy platforms, like genuinely has done some work to move in this direction. And last but not least, and this is the most consequential aspect of it, on the ground organizational backing, a ground team. When you have all of the above, you're going to probably win. Okay? With Shoykot, he didn't have that last one, right? I believed that he had enough experience in this space, advancing certain agendas, given his, given the Justice Democrats and all the work that he had done with the Justice Democrats, I think that he had actually worked hard enough to establish legitimacy. Many people did not believe that, and specifically people on the ground didn't believe it, right? That's part of the reason why he lost. So yeah, I do agree with this assessment that she's making here. Biggest one you're missing is prior elected office. Progressive candidates who have won, for the most part, already have a constituency base. No. Prior elected office is good. It's great, especially if you're a progressive force with experience in elected office to a certain degree, right? However, like Daria Lisa doesn't have prior elected office experience, but it doesn't matter because she's an organizer. She's worked on these causes, right? Like immigrant advocacy, things of that nature. Where's the piss off section? Oh, I thought people were going to get mad at me for saying this because there are AOC haters in here and then there are Graham Platner haters in here. And I end up merging best of both worlds here and say that AOC's non-endorsement of Graham Platner most likely comes from the fact that Graham Platner doesn't have that background. Like, that's where it comes from. Now, of course, do I want Graham Platner to win this fucking race? Abso-fucking-lutely I do, for a million different reasons. I have the leftist reasons why I want Graham Platner to win, okay? Regardless of all that skepticism, regardless of all that scrutiny, the lack of experience that he has in terms of organizing on the ground, like the local DSA not actually, or almost endorsing him and then not endorsing him. These are all considerations from my perspective. Having said that, none of that matters. It's all immaterial. He's organizing. No, he's organizing now, and he's doing a great job at it. But we're talking about like legitimacy in this space, experience in this space. If Graham Platner was like out there, other than Socialist Rifle Association work that he's done, I haven't seen much in terms of like getting involved in his background, getting involved with like local organizations. That's it. Even though it certainly doesn't matter right now because, it's time for him to defeat Susan Collins. And he's going to get attacked a lot, mercilessly, viciously. This is so dishonest. He has a long track record of organizing on Reddit. Is that a joke? Are you making a joke? Like, is the joke that you're making that he was a poster, which is the ultimate form of organizing, is the highest... Posting the highest form of organizing. Yeah. But yeah, one thing I will say on this side, on this front, he's a grade A yapper. He's gay as hell. G-A-Y, grade A yapper. He is a yapper through and through. He's great on message. Okay. Down to the optics, down to everything else. Like, rugged guy, says all the right things. To me, this means that this is a message that people want to hear. That's a good thing. I will never look a gift horse in the mouth and say, how old is this gift horse? Don't look at the teeth to see how far extended they are to try to figure out how old the horse is. That's how you figure out the age of a horse, by the way, that you don't know. As horses age, their teeth start pushing outward. That's where that statement comes from. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Sorry, I'm a horse girl, so I have to, give you additional information.
I will stand up for you and against billionaires and greedy corporations. I will serve you, the people of Maine, not some lobbyist or party boss. I will be the champion for your dreams as if it were my own, no matter the challenge or the expense. I will fight for you. I have been willing to die for my country. There is nothing that I will not do for the state of Maine.
His attack against Susan Collins
died. Susan Collins has voted to send billions of our taxpayer dollars to fund other people's wars. Susan Collins, how do you justify closing hospitals in Maine while using our tax dollars to destroy them halfway around the world? Friends died.
Railing on the establishment.
Maine, I love you. I love this state.
Oh my God.
Now the national pundits, the political establishment, they keep looking for that one story, that one headline, that one moment in my life that they can define the campaign by. But in trying so hard to understand me, they failed to understand that this is not about me at all. This is a movement about us. About the far too many working far too hard and struggling far too much at the hands of the ruling class. It is not a story of my hardship, it's of our hardship. A story of the hardship of every working Mainer. People that used to be able to stern in the summertime, plow in the winter, dig clams, and be able to send your kid off to college, but you can't anymore. Because that hard work, it isn't enough now. This story, the story of this...
This is a banger. I mean, this part is banger after banger. Wall to wall. Very good. This is what I mean when I say this guy's message is messaging. The optics of it, I know that some people don't like the grunt force vibes, but I think his message is so fucking sound. Excellent. A+. Very, very good. Better yet, he proves the point I've been making for the past couple of months. Okay? The point that I've been making for the past couple of months is that old whites want to hear this shit. Okay? A lot of people kept telling me over and over again, oh, dude, Americans are not ready for this. Americans are not ready for a movement like this. They are, bro. Old whites especially are. The Barbaras and the Deborahs are ready. They're saying, strap me to a missile and launch me towards the White House. That's what the Barbaras are saying. The Deborahs, the Barbaras have had enough of business as usual politics, and yet many of you in here don't want to fucking hear it. You're not ready for it. That's the real truth, Nuke. Look behind him. Those are not DSA cadres, chat. Those are not the people that you would expect, the Maoists, the Marxists, Leninists, the third worlders. Those are not cadres, those are padres. Exactly.
This campaign, it's not about how the political establishment counted me out. It's about for how far too long the political establishment has counted out the voices of every single person without the money to buy influence. But they don't know Maine.